Yeah, I'm almost 40 years old now. I've been talking my whole life.
That's what's up. I'm going to.
All right, so this is philosophy reading room. Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome. We're listening to Mozart's Lacrimosa. So we are live on Chicago Pizza Parlor, Day Trade Report, and Clubhouse. I want to thank you for joining me. We're also going to go live on Lincoln Park Real Estate Agency. And we are going to read 15 minutes of the Meditations of Marcus Aurelius. So we're live now on Lincoln Park Real Estate Agency, Day Trade Report, and Chicago Pizza Parlor. I want to thank you for joining me here today. I'm going to try to throw some filters on these accounts. So Chicago Pizza Parlor, that's a new Instagram account I'm working on, and basically it's going to be about Chicago pizza. But it's a business. It's called Chicago Pizza Parlor. It's an actual pizza restaurant that I own. And it was given to me by my Uncle Sally, who was the nephew of Al Capone. And so we're in the pizza business. I don't know. I'm trying to make
Dude, I love pizza.
I'm trying to make a joke, but it's not really working out so well.
Oh my God.
I'm not related to Al Capone. It's just a joke. Okay, so this is the meditation of Marcus Aurelius. Please hold your comments, questions, concerns, ideas, opinions, and thoughts to the very end. And I'm going to try to read 15 minutes of this in an English voice. Eventually, I'd like to go to Britain and try to film a television show there in a an English accent. I think it would be pretty funny. It would be kind of like the reverse of Sacha Baron Cohen. Okay, here we go. We're just going to jump right in. Fourth, consider that thou also doest many things wrong, and that thou art a man like others. And even if thou dost abstain from certain faults, still thou hast the disposition to commit them. Thou, either through cowardice, or concern about reputation, or some such mean motive, thou dost abstain from such faults. Fifth, consider that thou dost not even understand whether men are doing wrong or not, for many things are done with a certain reference to circumstances, and in short a man must learn a great deal to enable him to pass a correct judgment on another man's acts. Sixth, consider when thou art much vexed or grieved, that man's life is only a moment, and after a short time we are all laid out dead. Seventh, that it is not men's acts which disturb us, for those acts have their foundation in men's ruling principles. But it is our own opinions which disturb us. Take away these opinions then, and resolve to dismiss thy judgment about an act as if it were something grievous, and thy anger gone. How then shall I take away these opinions? By reflecting that no wrongful act of another brings shame on thee. For unless that which is shameful is alone bad, thou also must of necessity do many things wrong, and become a robber of everything else. Eighth, consider how much more pain is brought on us by the anger and vexation caused by such acts than by the acts themselves at which we are angry and vexed. Ninth, consider that a good disposition is invincible, if it be genuine, not an affected smile in acting a part. For what will the most violent man do to thee? If thou continuest to be of a kind disposition towards him, and if his opportunity offers, thou gently admonishest him and calmly correctest his errors at the very time when he is trying to do thee harm, saying, Not so, my child, we are constituted by nature for something else. I shall certainly not be injured, but thou art injuring thyself, my child, and show him with gentle tact and by general principles that this is so, and that even bees do not do as he does. nor any animals which are formed by nature to be gregarious, and thou must do this neither with any doubt, meaning, nor in the way of reproach, but affectionately, and without any rancour in thy soul, and not as if thou wert lecturing him, nor yet that any bystander may admire, but either when he is alone, and if others are present. Remember these 9 rules, as if thou hadst received them as a gift from the Muses, and begin at last to be a man, while thou livest. But thou must equally avoid flattering men, and being vexed at them, for both are unsocial and lead to harm. And let this truth be present to thee in the excitement of anger, that to be moved by passion is not manly, but that mildness and gentleness, as they are more agreeable to human nature, so also are they more manly, and he who possesses these qualities possesses strength, nerves, and courage, and not the man who is subject to fits of passion and discontent. For in the same degree in which a man's mind is nearer to freedom from all passion, in the same degree also is it nearer to strength, and as the sense of pain is a characteristic of weakness, so also is anger. For he who yields to pain and he who yields to anger both are wounded, and both submit. But if thou wilt receive also a 10th present from the leader of the Muses, Apollo, and it is this, that to expect bad men not to do wrong is madness. For he who expects this desires an impossibility, but to allow men to behave so to others, and to expect them not to do thee any wrong, is irrational and tyrannical. There are 4 principal aberrations of the superior faculty against which thou shouldst be constantly on thy guard, and when thou hast detected them, thou shouldst wipe them out, and say on each occasion thus, This thought is not necessary. This tends to destroy social union. This which thou art going to say comes not from the real thoughts, for thou shouldst consider Rabbi Marachai is here. For thou shouldst consider it among the most absurd of things for a man not to speak from his real thoughts. But the 4th is when thou shalt reproach thyself for anything, for this is an evidence of the diviner part within thee being overpowered and yielding to the less honorable, and to the perishable part, the body, and to its gross pleasures. The aerial part and all the fiery parts which are mingled in thee, thou by nature they have an upward tendency. Still, in obedience to the disposition of the universe, they are overpowered here in the compound mass, the body. And also the whole of the earthy part and the earthy part in thee and the watery, though their tendency is downwards, still are raised up and occupy a position which is not their natural one. In this manner, then, the elemental parts obey the universal. For when they have been fixed in any place perforce, they remain there until again the universal shall sound the signal for dissolution. Is it not then strange that thy intelligent part only should be disobedient and discontented with its own place, and yet not force is imposed on it, but only those things which are conformable to its nature? Still it does not submit, but is carried in the opposite direction, for the movement towards injustice and intemperance, and to anger and grief, and fear is nothing else than the act of one who deviates from nature. And also when the ruling faculty is discontented with anything that happens, then too it deserts its post. For it is constituted for piety and reverence towards the gods no less than for justice. For these qualities also are comprehended under the generic term of contentment with the constitution of things, and indeed they are prior to acts of justice. Rabbi Meir Chair Rivka loves my acting. All right, so let me just finish this. I'm going to read 2 more pages. Think of the country mouse and the town mouse, and of the alarm and trepidation of the town mouse. Socrates used to call the opinions of the many by the name of lamia, bugbears to frighten children. The Lacedaemonians at the public spectacles used to set seats in the shade for strangers, but themselves sat down anywhere. Socrates excused himself to Perdiccas for not going to him, saying, "It is because I would not perish by the worst of all ends, that is, I would not receive a favor and then be unable to return it." In the writings of the Ephesians there was this precept constantly to think of some one of the men of former times who practiced virtue. The Pythagoreans bid us in the morning look to the heavens, that we may be reminded of those bodies which continually do the same things and in the same manner perform their work, and also be reminded of the purity and nudity, for there is no veil over a star. Consider what a man Socrates was when he dressed himself in a skin after Xanthippe, had taken his cloak and gone out, and what Socrates said to his friends who were ashamed of him, and drew back from him when they saw him dressed thus. Neither in writing nor in reading wilt thou be able to lay down rules for others before thou shalt have first learned to obey rules thyself. Much more is this so in life. A slave thou art, free speech is not for thee. And my heart laughed within. And virtue they will curse, speaking harsh words. Hesiod from Works and Days. To look for the fig in winter is a madman's act. Such is he who looks for his child when it is no longer allowed. Epictetus. When a man kisses his child, said Epictetus, he should whisper to himself, tomorrow perchance thou wilt die. But those are words of bad omen. No word is a word of bad omen, said Epictetus, which expressed any work of nature, or if it is so, it is also a word of bad omen to speak of the ears of corn being reaped. The unripe grape, the ripe bunch, the dried grape, all are changes, not into nothing, but into something which exists not yet. No man can rob us of our free will. Epictetus also said a man must discover an art or rules with respect to giving his assent, and in respect to his movements he must be careful that they be made with regard to circumstances, that they be consistent with social interests, that they have regard to the value of the object, and as to sensual desire, he should altogether keep away from it, and as to avoidance aversion, he should not show it with respect to any of the things which are not in our power. The dispute, then, he said, is not about any common matter, but about being mad or not. Socrates used to say, what do you want, souls of rational men or irrational? Souls of rational men, of what rational men? Sound or unsound sound. Why, then, do you not seek for them? Because we have them. Why, then, do you fight and quarrel? Holy shit. After viewing your acting and knowing, Shabbat Shalom, big soul, got to go. Moshiach now! So that was a reading of Marcus Aurelius' Meditations. Thank you for listening. So we're publishing this on Philosophy Reading Room, Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome, as well as Chicago Pizza Parlor, Day Trade Report, and Lincoln Park Real Estate Agency. Thank you so much for joining us. We have Paul Hendefar, Scott Simpson Design Build, and Meyer Chai Rivka. Thank you, Ribono Shel Olam. So I guess that will conclude the reading of Marcus Aurelius. I guess I can continue a little bit. I'll probably read for maybe a few more minutes since I got this going. It takes a bit of time to set it all up, so... I'm going to read to you from Zen and Zen Classics by R.H. Blyth. We're just going to jump right into it. Oh, so I'll read you the Shin Shin Ming, if you've never heard it. This is called Inscribed on the Believing Mind. Again, this is a recording for Chicago Pizza Parlor on Instagram. Let me change this filter. Not really pleased with it. So, I don't know. Is there a different one I can do? Okay, so this is called the Shin Shin Ming, and I hope you like it. This is an ancient Zen text, rather enlightening, rapturous. You're going to like it. Take a sip of my coffee here. Again, I want to thank you for joining me. I'm not sure who's in the clubhouse room. Carol is still here. AJ is still here. I'm going to quickly invite some more people to the clubhouse room.
Thanks, bro. I'm glad to be here.
Carol, it's a great pleasure. Health, wealth, love, peace of mind. I hope this moment is your best moment. And today is your best day. Right now. Namaste. So I'm inviting all kinds of people: Niraj, RJ, Fujay, San, James Reed, KJ, Coco B, DG, German Marine, Vipel, David Steenhoek, Ryan Treese, Chrissy Watson, Drew Schaefer, Ryuth Ocean, Debbie Harris, Jen La Gringa, Wisecrow, Charles Edouard Nitot, Lisa Travax, O'Brad as Vinny, Nick Keys, A.A. Ron, Ilana Weissman Ritz, Kyle Grant, Board Wine, Ajax Davis, Ninvin, or whatever his name is, Naveen, Adam Sartawi, Anam Javed. Can you record a 30-second clip or a minute of why you love our Chabad? Yeah, sure. K.A., Kimberly Ann, Dante, A.K. Dante, Amber Says, Domain Name Advisor, Taylor Cole, Wendy, Ellen Harris, Daniel Parker, Nick, Raquel Sa, Yemi God, Gia Gioia, Ahmet Thuckrell, Pam R., Harry Lambert, Wally Khan, Poria Rod, Bev Ziegler, Sharuk Atzab, Apostle Frederick Figaro, Ali Duso, Marshall Rankin, Bawawali Baba, Parth Yadav, Ganesh J. Archarya, Dr. Yosef, Colin Campbell, Anna Sen, Omari, Devin Russell, Jamshid Gash Simi, Hampton Spears. All right, I invited everybody. This is, it's tough to balance all these phones, and anyways, can't get the perfect angle on all the phones. So I'm gonna invite some people on Instagram as well before I do the next reading, which is the Shin Ming. So on Instagram you can do invite to join. It's not showing me anybody there. Nope, not there. So send. Bella Butala. So I invited Mayor Lori Lightfoot and Ted Cruz. Instagram's amazing, gotta say. Failed to send message. Benny Nadzaku. So it looks like day trade report sent. So I'm also sending it to people on Chicago Pizza Parlor. Nope, messages failed to send. No fun, Instagram. No fun. Alright, so I'm going to play for you a quick Zen bell, and then I will read you the Shin Ming. Hope you've enjoyed today's video. Take the deepest breath of the day. Okay, this is the world-famous Sin Ming, inscribed on the believing mind. There is nothing difficult about the great way, but avoid choosing. Only when you neither love nor hate does it appear in all clarity. A hair's breadth of deviation from it, and a deep gulf is set between heaven and earth. If you want to get hold of what it looks like, do not be anti or pro anything. The conflict of longing and loathing. This is the disease of the mind. Not knowing the profound meaning of things, we disturb our original peace of mind to no purpose, perfect like great space. The way has nothing lacking, nothing in excess, truly because of our accepting and rejecting. We have not the suchness of things. Neither follow after, nor dwell with the doctrine of the void. If the mind is at peace, these wrong views disappear of themselves. When activity is stopped and passivity obtains, this passivity again is a state of activity remaining in movement or quiescence. How shall we know the one? Not thoroughly understanding the unity of the way. Both activity and quiescence are failures. If you get rid of phenomena, all things are lost. If you follow after the void, you turn your back on the selflessness of things. The more talking and thinking, the farther from the truth. Cutting off all speech, all thought, there is nowhere that you cannot go. Returning to the root, we get the essence. Following after appearances, we lose the spirit. If for only a moment we see within, we have surpassed the emptiness of things. Changes that go on in this emptiness all arise because of our ignorance. Do not seek for the truth. Religiously avoid following it. If there is the slightest trace of this and that, the mind is lost in a maze of complexity. Duality arises from unity, but do not be attached to this unity. When the mind is one and nothing happens, everything in the world is unblameable. If things are unblamed, they cease to exist. If nothing happens, there is no mind. When things cease to exist, the mind follows them. When the mind vanishes, things also follow it. Things are things because of the mind. The mind is the mind because of things. If you wish to know what these two are, they are originally one emptiness. In this void, both mind and things are one, or the myriad phenomena contained in both. If you do not distinguish refined and coarse, how can you be for this and against that? The activity of the great way is vast. It is neither easy nor difficult. Small views are full of foxy fears. The faster, the slower. When we attach ourselves to the idea of enlightenment, we lose our balance. We infallibly enter the crooked way. When we are not attached to anything, all things are as they are. With activity, there is no going or staying. Obeying our nature, we are in accord with the way, wandering freely without annoyance. When our thinking is tide, it turns from the truth. It is dark, submerged, wrong. It is foolish to irritate your mind. Why shun this and be friends with that? If you wish to travel in the true vehicle, do not dislike the six dusts. Indeed, not hating the six dusts is identical with real enlightenment. Excuse me. The wise man does nothing. The fool shackles himself. The truth has no distinctions. These come from our foolish clinging to this and that, seeking the mind with the mind. Is not this the greatest of all mistakes? Illusion produces rest and motion. Illumination destroys liking and disliking. All these pairs of opposites are created by our own folly. Dreams, delusions, flowers of air. Why are we so anxious to have them in our grasp? Profit and loss, right and wrong, away with them once and for all. If the eye does not sleep, all dreaming ceases naturally. If the mind makes no discriminations, all things are as they really are. In the deep mystery of this, things are as they are. We are released from our relations to them. When all things are seen with equal mind, they return to their nature. No description by analogy is possible of this state where all relations have ceased. When we stop movement, there is no movement. When we stop resting, there is no rest. When both cease to be, how can the unity subsist? Things are ultimately in their finality, subject to no law. For the accordant mind in its unity, individual activity ceases, all doubts are cleared up, true faith is confirmed, nothing remains behind, there is not anything we must remember, empty, lucid, self-illuminated, with no overexertion of the power of the mind. This is where thought is useless. This is what knowledge cannot fathom in the world of reality. There is no self, no other than self, should you desire immediate correspondence with this reality. All that can be said is no duality. When there is no duality, all things are one. There is nothing that is not included. The enlightened of all times and places have all entered into this truth. Truth cannot be increased or decreased. An instantaneous thought lasts a myriad years. There is no here, no there. Infinity is before our eyes. The infinitely small is as large as the infinitely great. For limits are non-existent things. The infinitely large is as small as the infinitely minute. No eye can see the boundaries. What is not, what is not is. Until you have grasped this fact, your position is simply untenable. One thing is as all things are as all things are one thing. If this is for you, there is no need to worry about perfect knowledge. The believing mind is not dual. What is dual is not the believing mind. beyond all language, for it there is no past, no present, no future. So that's the Sin Sin Ming. Hope you enjoyed watching it. Sweet Salty Bitch is watching me on Instagram.
I've actually heard you read that one before.
Oh yeah, we came back to it. My friend read it the other day. And then the rest of the book is all... well, actually, I have another book. It's called Zen Game, Zen Masters Play. And they do it... he analyzes each portion of that. And it's the analysis of it is really interesting. And it's a quick read. It's kind of a meditational read. And, yeah, it's a fabulous read. If you want to read it sometime, feel free. You can Google it, and if you want to read it to me, go for it. So I want to thank you for listening. This has been the Philosophy Reading Room, Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome, on Clubhouse. So we've read some Stoic meditations, and now we just finished the Sin Sin Ming, which is a Zen Buddhist classic. So we got Ocean_ZW watching us on Lincoln Park Real Estate Agency. We're live on Day Trade Report and Chicago Pizza Parlor. Health, wealth, love, peace of mind, everyone. Hope you're having a fabulous Friday. Bless up. Stay strong, move fast. You know what they say. Oh, good Shabbos, good Shabbos, good Shabbos. It is Shabbos. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu l'hadlik nesheh Shabbat. Namaste, namaste. Health, wealth, love, peace of mind. This is the shofar to Gekachen lichtigen dein Eugen. It's to wake you up. Can't quite seem to blow. Oh, there we go. Can't quite get it. So, I'm going to pull a new book from my shelf. I'll invite a few more people to Clubhouse. We'll keep the live streams going. I'll do maybe another 5 to 10 minute read of a new book. Oh, I can't invite anybody else. So, looks like I've spammed myself out enough for the day, I suppose. I think we've gotten quite a bit of footage here. Oh. Well, I'll tell you what. I'll read you some Epictetus because in today's world, he's quite overlooked, but Marcus Aurelius is fairly and widely well known and read at this point. I would like to read you some Jewish literature just because Meir Chai Rivka joined us and complimented my acting skills, so it's a big shout out. I appreciate that. But let's read some Epictetus. How did Socrates bear himself in this regard? How else then became as one who was fully assured that he was the kinsman of the gods? If God had made that part of his own nature which he served from himself and gave to us, liable to be hindered or constrained, either by himself or any other, he would not have been God, nor would he have been taking care of us as he ought. If you choose, you are free. If you choose, you need blame no man, accuse no man. All things will be at once according to your mind, and according to the mind of God. Petrification is of two sorts. There is petrification of the understanding and also of the sense of shame. This happens when a man obstinately refuses to acknowledge plain truths and persists in maintaining what is self-contradictory. Most of us dread mortification of the body, and would spare no pains to escape anything of that kind, but of mortification of the soul we are utterly heedless. With regard indeed to the soul, if a man is in such a state as to be incapable of following or understanding anything, I grant you, we do think him in a bad way. But mortification of the sense of shame and modesty we go so far as to dub strength of mind. If we were as intent upon our own business as the old fellows at Rome are upon what interests them, we too might perhaps accomplish something. I know a man older than I am, now superintendent of the corn market at Rome, and I remember when he passed through this place on his way back from exile, what an account he gave me of his former life, declaring that for the future, once home again, his only care should be to pass his remaining years in quiet and tranquillity. For how few years have I left, he cried, that I said you will not do, but the moment the scent of Rome is in your nostrils, you will forget it all. And if you can but gain admission to court, you will be glad enough to elbow your way in, and thank God for it. Epictetus, he replied, if ever you find me setting as much as 1 foot within the court, think what you will of me. Well, as it was, what did he do? Ere he entered the city, he was met by a despatch from the emperor. He took it and forgot the whole of his resolutions. From that moment he has been piling one thing upon another. I should like to be beside him to remind him of what he said when passing this way, and to add, how much better a prophet I am than you. What then? Do I say man is not made for an active life? Far from it, but there is a great difference between other men's occupations and ours. A glance at theirs will make it clear to you. All day long they do nothing but calculate, contrive, consult how to wring their profit out of foodstuffs, farm plots, and the like. Whereas I entreat you to learn what the administration of the world is, and what place a being endowed with reason holds therein, to consider what you are yourself, and wherein your good and evil consists. A man asked me to write to Rome on his behalf, who, as most people thought, had met with misfortune, for having been before wealthy and distinguished. He had afterwards lost all, and was living here. So I wrote about him in a humble style. He, however, on reading the letter, returned it to me, with the words, I asked for your help, not for your pity. No evil has happened unto me. True instruction is this, to learn to wish that each thing should come to pass as it does. And how does it come to pass as the disposer has disposed it? Now he has disposed that there should be summer and winter, and plenty and dearth, and vice and virtue, and all such opposites, for the harmony of the whole. Have this thought ever present with thee, when thou losest any outward thing, what thou gainest in its stead, and if this be the more precious, say not, I have suffered loss. Concerning the gods, there are who deny the very existence of the Godhead. Others say that it exists, but neither bestirs nor concerns itself, nor has forethought for anything. A third party attribute to it existence and forethought, but only for great and heavenly matters, not for anything that is on earth. A fourth party admit things on earth as well as in heaven, but only in general, and not with respect to each individual. A fifth, of whom were Ulysses and Socrates, are those that cry, I move not without thy knowledge. Considering all things, the good and true man submits his judgment to him that administers the universe, even as good citizens to the law of the state. And he that is being instructed should come thus minded, how may I in all things follow the gods, and how may I rest satisfied with the divine administration, and how may I become free? For he is free, for whom all things come to pass according to his will, and whom none can hinder. What then is freedom madness? God forbid. For madness and freedom exist not together. But I wish all that I desire to come to pass, and in the manner that I desire. You are mad, you are beside yourself. Know you not that freedom is a glorious thing, and of great worth? But that what I desire at random I should wish at random to come to pass, so far from being noble may well be exceeding base. You must know that it is no easy thing for a principle to become a man's own unless each day he maintain it, and hear it maintained, as well as work it out in life. You are impatient and hard to please. If alone you call it solitude, if in the company of men you dub them conspirators and thieves, and find fault with your very parents, children, brothers, and neighbors, whereas when by yourself you should have called it tranquillity and freedom, and herein deemed yourself like unto the gods, and when in the company of the many you should not have called it a wearisome crowd and tumult, but an assembly and a tribunal, and thus accepted all with contentment. What then is the chastisement of those who accept it not to be as they are? Is any discontented with being alone? Let him be in solitude. Is any discontented with his parents? Let him be a bad son and lament. Is any discontented with his children? Let him be a bad father. Throw him into prison. What prison? Where he is already. For he is there against his will, and wherever a man is against his will, there to him is a prison. Thus Socrates was not in prison, since he was there with his own consent. Knowest thou what a speck thou art in comparison with the universe? That is, with respect to the body, since with respect to reason thou art not inferior to the gods, no less than they. For the greatness of reason is not measured by length or height, but by the resolves of the mind. Place then thy happiness in that wherein thou art equal to the gods. Asked how a man might eat acceptably to the gods, Epictetus replied, if when he eats he can be just, cheerful, equable, temperate, and orderly, can he not thus eat acceptably to the gods? But when you call for warm water, and your slave does not answer, or when he answers brings it lukewarm, or is not even found to be in the house at all, then not to be vexed nor burst with anger, is not that acceptable to the gods? But how can one endure such people? Slave, will you not endure your own brother, that has God to his forefather, even as a son sprung from the same stock and of the same high descent as yourself? And if you are stationed in a high position, are you therefore forthwith to set up for a tyrant? Remember who you are, and whom you rule, that they are but by nature your kinsmen, your brothers, the offspring of God. But I paid a price for them, not they for me. Do you see whither you are looking? Down to the earth, to the pit, to those despicable laws of the dead? But to the laws of the gods you do not look. When we are invited to a banquet, we take what is set before us, and were one to call upon his host to set fish upon the table or sweet things, he would be deemed absurd. Yet in a word, we ask the gods for what they do not give, and that although they have given us so many things. All right, everybody. Those are the golden sayings of Epictetus. Namaste, namaste. Thank you for joining us on Chicago Pizza Parlor, Day Trade Report, Lincoln Park Real Estate Agency, as well as on Clubhouse. This has been a philosophy reading room. Thank you for joining us. The listener is just as important as the speaker, and the speaker is as just important as the listener. Actually, they say the listener is less important than the speaker, because when you speak, you create content, but when you listen, you consume content. It's always better to be a producer than a consumer. That's what I say. It's better to create the advertisement than it is to watch the advertisement. Better to create the movie than it is to watch the movie. But all the great historic scenes have already been recorded. I mean, I wonder when they're going to come out with Barack Obama the movie or George Bush the movie. I mean, they came out with Dick Cheney, but they already came out with Bush. I mean, when are they going to come out with Trump the movie? I never thought about that. Some great American actor is going to play Trump on the screen. It's going to be one hell of a movie. I mean, can anybody play Trump in a movie? Can you think of one actor who would be able to transform himself into Trump for, 2 hours? Wouldn't it be funny if Brad Pitt played Trump? I don't know. You think Pitt could do it? I don't even think they make movies like that anymore. Everything is really just tightly now merged with CGI, and I mean it's all really high level art and software and chip development with these movies. Those are the ultimate experiences now. I mean, the movie Vice with what's his face was pretty good, Josh Brolin, and it was a great movie. People didn't like it, but because it was anti-George Bush or something. That's what I heard. That's what my father told me. So this has been a live recording for Chicago Pizza Parlor Day Trade Report, Link Park Real Estate Agency. Title of the clubhouse room again is Philosophy Reading Room, Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome. Any final comments, thoughts, ideas, opinions? Still can't invite anybody. How unfortunate. All right, so since I have everything going, I'm going to read you one more book. It's from the Zohar, the Book of Enlightenment, since it is Shabbos. I don't know, what could I read you from here that you might find interesting? Okay, this is called Abram's Descent into Egypt. And Abram went down to Egypt, Genesis 12:10. Rabbi Shimon said, "Come and see, everything has secret wisdom." This verse hints at wisdom and the levels down below, to the depths of which Abraham descended. He knew them, but did not become attached. He returned to face his Lord, was not seduced by them like Adam, was not seduced by them like Noah. When Adam reached that upper level, he was seduced by the serpent and dragged death into the world. When Noah descended to that level, what is written? He drank of the wine and became drunk and uncovered himself within his tent. Genesis 9:21. The spelling implies her tent. But what is written of Abraham? Abram went up from Egypt. He went up and did not come down. He returned to his domain, the high rung he had grasped before. This story appears in the Torah to reveal wisdom. Abraham fulfilled himself, was not seduced, rose to his full stature, returned to his domain, into the Negev. The south, the high sphere he was linked to before. Before it was written, Abraham journeyed by stages toward the Negev. Now into the Negev, the domain he adhered to before. Come and see the secret of the word. If Abraham had not gone down into Egypt and been refined there first, he could not have partaken of the Blessed Holy One. Similarly with his children, when the Blessed Holy One wanted to make them unique, a perfect people, and to draw them near to him, if they had not gone down into Egypt and been refined there first, they would not have become his special ones. So, too, the Holy Land, if she had not been given first to Sinai, or Canaan, or Sinai, to the Canaan to control, she would not have become the portion, the share of the Blessed Holy One. It is all one mystery. All right, I'll read you one more story from the Zohar. This is called Openings. He, Abraham, was sitting in the opening of the tent. Sarah read. Sarah heard from the opening of the tent. Rabbi Judah opened. Her husband is known in the gates, when he sits among the elders of the land. Come and see, the Blessed Holy One has ascended in glory. He is hidden, concealed far beyond. There is no one in the world, nor has there ever been, who can understand his wisdom or withstand him. He is hidden, concealed, transcendent, beyond. The beings up above and the creatures down below, none of them can comprehend. All they can say is, Blessed be the presence of Yahweh in his place. The ones below proclaim that he is above. His presence is above the heavens. The ones above proclaim that he is below. Your presence is over all the earth. Finally, all of them, above and below, declare, Blessed be the presence of Yahweh wherever he is, for he is unknowable. No one has ever been able to identify him. How then can you say her husband is known in the gates? He is known and grasped to the degree that one opens the gates of imagination, the capacity to connect with the spirit of wisdom, to imagine in one's heart, mind, this is how God becomes known. Therefore her husband is known in the gates, through the gates of imagination, but that he be known as he really is. No one has ever been able to attain such knowledge of him. Rabbi Shimon said, her husband is known in the gates. Who are these gates? The one addressed in the psalm, O gates, lift up your heads. Be lifted up, openings of eternity, so the King of glory may come. Through these gates, these spheres on high, the Blessed Holy One becomes known. Were it not known, no one could commune with him. Come and see, neshama of a human being is unknowable except through limbs of the body. Subordinates of neshama carry out what she designs. Thus she is known and unknown. The Blessed Holy One, too, is known and unknown, for he is neshama of neshama, numma of numma, completely hidden away. Through these gates, openings for neshama, the Blessed Holy One becomes known. Come and see, there is opening within opening, beyond level. Through these, the glory of God becomes known. The opening of the tent is the opening of righteousness. As the psalmist says, open for me the gates of righteousness. This is the first opening to enter. Through this opening, all of the high openings come into view. One who attains the clarity of this opening discovers all the other openings, for all of them abide here. Now that Israel is in exile, this opening is unknown. All the openings have abandoned her. It is impossible to know, impossible to grasp. But when Israel comes forth from exile, all the soaring spheres will touch down upon this opening one by one. Then human beings will perceive wondrous, precious wisdom never known by them before. As it is written, the Spirit of Yahweh shall alight upon him, a spirit of wisdom and insight, a spirit of design and power, a spirit of knowledge and awe of Yahweh. All these are destined to alight upon the opening below the opening of the tent. All these are destined to alight upon King Messiah, so that he may judge the world. As it is written, he shall judge the poor with righteousness. Therefore, when Abraham received the good news, this sphere delivered it, as has been said, for it is written. Then one said, I will return to you when life is due. One said, who it was is not spelled out. It was the opening of the tent. Now the same verse says, Sarah heard. She heard this sphere speaking with her husband, someone she had never heard before. And so it is written, Sarah heard the opening of the tent, who was delivering the good news. I will return to you when life is due, and your wife Sarah will have a son. All right, I want to thank you for joining us. Drifting on a Read, Day Trade Report, Lincoln Park Real Estate Agency, and our new Instagram account, Chicago Pizza Parlor. So I own ChicagoPizzaParlor.com. I'm definitely going to open up a pizza restaurant shortly. It's going to be called Chicago Pizza Parlor, and we're going to sell franchises. If Lou Malnati's can sell out to a private equity firm and Portillo's can earn 1 cent a share, I'm pretty sure Chicago Pizza Parlor can beat that. It will require some capital investment, but Chicago Pizza Parlor is, This is the Instagram account. So I want to thank you again. We've read Stoic Meditations from Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus. We've also read the Sin Ming from R.H. Blyth's, one of R.H. Blyth's Tao book. And then we just finished reading 2 stories from the Zohar. So health, wealth, love, peace of mind. Thank you for joining me this beautiful Friday morning. It's 11:28 a.m. Central Standard Time, Friday, November 19th. This has been a recording for Edmund Dakin on Clubhouse. Replays are on. So if you want to enjoy this philosophy audiobook reading, just come back to my profile at Edmund Dakin or Audio Teachers. That's at Audio Teachers on Clubhouse. It's better to produce than it is to consume. I look at YouTube quite a bit, and you rely on the algorithm to help you save time to find the content you want to watch. Sometimes you find what you want to watch, but my God, the advertisements on YouTube is insane. 2 forced view ads. I mean, to watch anything now, you're forced to see a view. Google knows who they're delivering ads to, and but I get delivered a lot of ads. It's a lot of work watching these advertisements to watch content on YouTube. But I digress. It's not as important as these philosophical readings, these Torah readings, this wisdom education, which I hope I have shared with you here today. I hope it improves your life. I hope you find it useful. I hope you find it entertaining. I like to do it in that voice. I don't know why. It's just the way it comes out. A lot of these books are kind of written in Victorian English, I think, or at least translated by British people, 1900 or whatever. Extremely intelligent. I mean, could you imagine being able to read, write, translate Latin into English or Greek into English? Extremely complicated. Very difficult. Highly educated people who didn't have the internet to distract them, who actually had to really look at books quite explicitly. Dedicated. I mean, the whole world operated on books prior to the internet. Now, you have billions of just internet cell phone slaves instead of people that go to libraries. Libraries used to be really busy. I don't know if you know that in American history throughout the world. Maybe not. A hell of a lot busier than they are today. I mean, librarians used to be a whole profession. My grandmother was a librarian. She went to college to study library, operations, I suppose, or the sciences of library, or biblio. They make fun of it in Curb Your Enthusiasm. People don't go to libraries and know how the coding system and all that stuff works. So the Clubhouse replay feature I'm really excited about. It's pretty much the same thing as Instagram series. If you want to create like a 10-part series, Instagram allows you to do that. So I've created not hundreds of series, but I've created at least 50, 60, 70, 80 series on Instagram across multiple accounts, different topics. But, the audio functionality of Clubhouse being basically like a social recorder is pretty exciting. I like being on here now because now I know it's recorded. I like to come back and listen to what I read, what I said. I think a lot of it's pretty funny. Danelle Parker wants to come up and be a part of the People's Log or the People's Audiobook. Show us what you got. You have anything to share with us before I end all these recordings?
Yeah, I understand the topic of this room is about Richard Harris.
Oh, man.
Damn, that was my joke. I didn't even do it that good. I could have done it so much better. Are you all still talking about Stoicism?
I pretty much did all the readings already for today. I think I've been live for close to maybe 45 minutes, an hour, somewhere around there.
What did we learn?
So again, this has been a philosophy reading room. Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome. Do you have any Stoic quotes you'd like to read us before I end the room? Anything you'd like to share with us that you could read, you know?
I don't have my copy now, but I think my favorite point in the book is that when everybody dies, they become a cliche. And I think that was like the best point Marcus Aurelius made, was that like once somebody dies, they become like a tagline rather than like a fully developed person. That's probably one of my favorite observations he made in the Meditations.
Well,
before you end it, I just want to say thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Anytime, brother. Anytime. You know, health, wealth, love, peace of mind. Stay strong, move fast, everybody. All right, so I'm going to end this recording. Go to Lincoln Park Real Estate Agency, go to Day Trade Report, go to Chicago Pizza Parlor. Thanks so much, everybody.